しちゃいましたよね。すごいって。
Since Memories Off the Starry Sky is the first game in the long-running Memories Off series to receive an official Western release thanks to P-Cubed. Developed by Mages, well known for their science adventure series, particularly Steins Gate, this visual novel is a spin-off set about a decade after the mainline entries, featuring its own main cast. This self-contained nature is a relief for newcomers like myself, and it turned out to be a fulfilling journey that has piqued my interest in the rest of the series.
人気のユーリはリーダー。悪い？ユーリファン。よかったら私も。ありがとう。はい、二度と忘れられないようにして。
Since Memories Off the Starry Sky centers around Junya Mizumoto, a troubled university student who, just a year prior, lost his brother, Takuya, in a catastrophic car accident. Junya was in the vehicle during the accident and experienced the tragedy firsthand, but his memories of that event are hazy even after a significant passage of time. Now burdened by grief and guilt, especially since Takuya was beloved by everyone in the city, Junya frequently feels like he should have been the one who perished. As he discovers oddities around his brother's death and final actions, he's prompted to investigate, laying the groundwork for a moving mystery. Junya's inner struggle is at the heart of the experience and is immensely gripping. His insecurities are conveyed both subtly and overtly whenever Takuya is mentioned or alluded to, perhaps most evident when confronted by one of the heroines, Azusa. The two meet during the opening hours, and it's not exactly a pleasant encounter. Azusa blames Junya for his brother's passing. This conflicted guilt never feels needlessly imposed for hollow pity. Instead, it's bolstered by how Junya represses himself and goes the extra mile for others as a way to fill in for his overly capable brother. However, one of the major gripes with this title is the strange incorporation of Junya's voice acting. He's voiced in a few specific segments, namely those where events are witnessed strictly from his perspective, but he's wholly silent for the rest of the game, making for a jarring experience that lacks the impact it could have otherwise had. Since Junya is far from a blank slate or self-insert character, the silence doesn't enhance player immersion. Ultimately, this design choice doesn't negate the strengths of his characterization, but it does feel like a missed opportunity.
純也の時間をうちがキープねキープ。オッケーオッケー。なんというお店？楽しみですね。あ、それとさんはいらないよ。純優と呼んでほしいね。
Since Memories Off the Starry Sky begins with a common route that introduces the setting and the main cast. Besides the heroines, this includes Junya's family business, which handles various requests and odd jobs for the townspeople. The dialogue presents a few different choices, with a handful of transparently major ones that can start character routes or even trigger a bad ending. You won't need a guide here though. Progression is reasonably straightforward, and if you make a mistake, you can easily pick up on where you went wrong. The supporting cast gives the city of Sumisora some personality and distinction, though the heroines aren't quite well executed. You have the airheaded rich girl and Junya's childhood friend, Chihaya, her attached aide, Hinata, the Chinese transfer student Zhao, the secretive Yuriko, and the abrasive Azusa. While each route delves into the issues the girls face, or at least are implied to have during the common route, Hinata's and Chihaya's routes don't feel as thoroughly explored as they should have been, especially given Junya's initial closeness to them compared to the other girls. In contrast, Zhao's, Yuriko's, and Azusa's routes are significantly more compelling, simultaneously highlighting their own struggles and Junya's inner strife. These scenarios serve as dual character studies rather than solely focusing on heroines. Yuriko's route was probably the most surprising, as she received the least screen time in the common route, but her story more than makes up for her previous lack of presence. Another issue affecting the experience is the localization, particularly its noticeable number of typos and tense errors. Unfortunately, these shortcomings persist throughout the game's duration, indicating that there should have been much more attention during these editing processes. It's not unreadable by any means, but there's an undeniable lack of polish that can occasionally take you out of the emotional, character-driven genre. Still, the character art and soundtracks do more than enough to draw you into every scene. The UI reminds me of old-school visual novels from the 2000s, and the presentation creates a comfortable atmosphere that fits with the setting. The soundtrack of science adventure series composer Takashi Abo further enhances the tranquil ambience. And while none of the tracks reach the memorable heights of games like Chaos Head Noah or Steins Gate or Anonymous Code, the music succeeds in conveying the intended grounded tones. I should also note that since Memories Off the Starry Sky is entirely playable as a standalone experience, this was my first time in the series and I didn't feel lost. Admittedly, there is a recurring side character, Shin, who I learned is from their previous games, and a decent chunk of his scenes are blatantly fan service for returning players. However, they don't mar the storytelling. If you're craving a dramatic mystery adventure, since Memories Off the Starry Sky may be up your alley, thanks to its riveting character dynamics and well-grounded instances of inner turmoil. This is also a perfectly welcome entry point for this long-running series. However, the uneven writing quality and script editing issues may require you to overlook some faults more often than you'd like. Still, I hope to see the rest of the storied franchise make its way to the West. Noisy Pixel is giving Since Memories Off the Starry Sky a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.